Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be making this pumpkin gnome house-ish type Halloween thing that I made up. So this hat just comes off. I didn't glue it or anything or sew it or... So we're going to start with what color we're using. I think this is just orange. Yeah, it's just the color orange, and it's a Craftsmart value is what we're using today. So this particular yarn calls for a 5mm, but we're going to do this in amigurumi style. So we're going to use a 4.5. Let's jump right into this. The other sparkly for the hat, the sparkly black is a Red Heart Sparkles from the Red Heart Sparkle collection. So I think for this video I don't think I have any more left, so I'm just going to use the regular black and not the sparkle. But the sparkle's really pretty, so if you happen to manage to be able to get your hands on some Red Heart Sparkle in black, I would use that. So, but for starters, let's just start with the actual pumpkin part. So we're going to make a magic ring and put 6 single crochets inside this magic ring. So your first round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So because we're building an amigurumi, we're not slip stitching, we're not chaining one, we're going to go directly just right into the stitch. So after the first stitch, that's where your marker is going to go, not after the second. Then you can put the second stitch in there. So 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a total of 12. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase. This will bring you up to 18 stitches. That is your 1 single crochet. And then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat all the way around. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 24 stitches. That's number 1. With your marker, always counts as number 1. That's number 2. And then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. And this will bring you up to 30 stitches. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets, and then the next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your next stitch gets an increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. bringing you up to 36 stitches, and repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 5 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And this brings you up to 42 stitches. Your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 48 stitches. That's number 1. That's 6 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is 7 single crochets and an increase. That's number 1. That's 7 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This will bring you up to 54 stitches. Your next and last increase round is going to be 8 single crochets and an increase, but I'm pretty sure you probably saw that one coming. That's number 1. That's 8 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. This will bring you up to 60 stitches. So this is what you should have. For the next 10 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of the 60 stitches. This will bring it up, and then we'll start decreasing. So I will see you on the other side. So this is my 10 rows. That's what you get. That's what it should look like. So we're going to start decreasing now. I want you to do 8 single crochet decrease. It's number 1. And then I'm going to do an invisible decrease, which is done in the front loops only. So you go into the first loop, pull up a loop, go into your next front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. That's your invisible decrease. So I'm going to do that throughout. So just repeat that, and that should take you down to 54 stitches. So your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase, and I'm gonna start putting up 2 things on my screen for you to do, because every decrease I am gonna follow up with a 1 single crochet in each stitch. So this round is just 1 single crochet in each of those 54 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So your next 2 rounds are going to be 7 single crochets and a decrease. This brings you down to 48 stitches. And then I want you to do a round of 1 single crochet in each of those 48 stitches. That's number 1. That's 7 single crochets the hard way, and then a decrease. Your next 2 rows is going to be, you guessed it, 6 single crochets and a decrease, and then a 1 single crochet in each stitch. So this should bring you down to 42 stitches. That's number 1. That is 6 single crochets. I'm still doing my invisible decrease and repeat. Your next 2 rounds is 5 single crochets and a decrease, bringing you down to 36 stitches, and then 1 single crochet in each of those 36 stitches. You can stuff this at any time too. That's 5 single crochets and a decrease, still invisible. If you don't want to do invisible, just use the whole stitch. It's fine. I guess I should have said that before, huh? It's a little late to be telling you that now. So I put some stuffing in mine. Make sure you keep the bottom flat. Your next 2 rounds is going to be 4 single crochets and a decrease, bringing you down to 30 stitches, and then 1 single crochet in each of those 30 stitches. And I will see you on the other side. So your next round is going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. This will bring you down to 24 stitches, and then I want you to do 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. We're just about done. This is number 1, 2, and 3, and then your decrease. I'm still doing invisible. You can do whatever you want. So that last bit changes a bit. So I want you to do 2 single crochets and an increase, or sorry, a decrease. We're on decreases. And then we're going to end it off with 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each of those 18 stitches is what you'll have. So that is number 1 and that's number 2, and then of course your decrease, whatever style you want to do it. So this is what you should have. It should look like a little bomb. We are going to fasten off. The reason I put this top, the 4 rows in there, is to have something for the hat to sit on. So this is what it's going to look like, and then the hat just sits on, and you can sew the hat on if you want, but that's why I did the 4 rows. So go ahead and stuff it as much as you'd like. We're going to fasten off of this bad boy, and then we're going to cinch it closed. So just go into your next stitch, slip stitch, fasten off. All you need is a cinching tail. Make sure this is fully stuffed though, because you don't want your cinch to be all wrinkly or anything. So make sure it's to the brim. So once you're satisfied, you're going to go in the front loops only, so pick up a loop. Let me zoom in. So pick up a loop. You're going to go in and out. So in and out. So I'm back around to where I fastened off, and I'm just going to pull. So if this is not completely filled, you're going to get a little bit of puckering. I don't know if puckering is the right word, but and if you do, just keep in mind there's going to be a hat on this, so so pop across. We're going to make a knot. You can wiggle that back and forth. I'm going to make a second knot. Wiggle it back and forth. I got a little bit of a raised edges here and here, but there's going to be a hat on there, so I don't care. So we're just going to weave the rest of this in. And there you have it. Start, oh, I'm going to zoom back out. The start of your little pumpkin gnome house. So anyway, that was the purpose for that, in case you're wondering what the heck was going on. So the next biggest thing is going to be the hat. So get your black, purple, and yellow. If you want to do one like mine, this is the one I did. So the purple and the yellow is just for the thing. I'm just using regular black for this, but get your colors and I'll meet you right back here. So I'm still using the same hook, 4.5. I'm going to make a magic ring, and I'm going to put 6 single crochets inside this magic ring. Pull your circle closed. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet and an increase, because I want a point on the end of this, so I don't want to jump right into 2 single crochet in each stitch. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase to bring me up to 9 stitches. That's one single crochet, and then your increase obviously is 2 single crochets in the same space. I have to feel my way around because I can't see anything. I hate working with black, but the sparkle is nice to work with because I could actually see something, but yeah. So again, in between increase rows, I'm going to do a row of 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's what we're going to do next. 1 single crochet in each stitch. So moving forward, I'll just be adding that to my pause screen. So you got 9 stitches. That is 9. I'm just going to flip this around. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and that'll bring you up to 12 stitches, and then you can do 1 single crochet in each of those 12 stitches. I'm just trying to speed the video along. That's number 1. That's number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Your next rounds are going to be 3 single crochet and an increase. This will bring you up to 15 stitches, and then you can put 1 single crochet in each of those 15 stitches. That's number 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. Repeat. Next couple of rounds is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 18 stitches, and then your next round will be 1 single crochet in each of those 18 stitches. That's number 1. That's 4 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 5 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 21 stitches, and then I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 21 stitches. Number 1, that's 5 single crochets. Then your next stitch gets 2 single crochets in the same space for the increase. So your next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase, and that's going to bring you up to 24 stitches. And then I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of those 24 stitches. That's number 1. That is 6 single crochets, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Your next round is going to be 7 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 27 stitches. And then you can put 1 single crochet in each of these 27 stitches. That is 7 single crochets, and then an increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. repeat. So your next round is going to be 8 single crochets and an increase. This will bring up to 30 stitches. And then you can put 1 single crochet in each of those 30 stitches. We're going to be changing to purple in a few rows. That is, oh, sorry, that's 7. That is 8 single crochets. And then your next stitch gets 2 single crochets for the increase and repeat. So your next round is going to be 9 single crochets and an increase. This will bring you up to 33 stitches. Then I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 33 stitches. That's 9 single crochets. And then your next stitch gets the increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So your next round is 10 single crochets and an increase, and this will bring you up to 36 stitches. And then after this, I want you to put 1 single crochet in each of these 36 stitches, and then we're going to change to purple. So this is the round we changed to purple on, so I'm going to back out of this stitch. This is my last stitch. This is how I do my color change. So I'm going to pull up a loop like I'm doing the stitch, but I'm going to finish it with my new color. With my new color, I'm going to do 11 single crochet increase, bringing me up to 39 stitches. And then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each. So this is my color change. I'm going to keep the black attached because I am coming back to it. But just in case something might happen, I'm going to tie this in a knot because I'm not weaving anything. If you've been following me long enough, you know what I'm doing. So I did 2 rows of the purple, the 11 single crochet increase and then 1 single crochet in each of the 39 stitches. I'm on my last stitch. We're going back to black, so I've pulled up a loop, but I'm going to finish the stitch with my black, which is still attached. Still just kind of hanging around. So I'm going to finish that stitch with the black, and with the black I'm going to do 12 single crochet increase. This will bring me up to 42 stitches. So I've got my 12 single crochet increase. At this point, the hat should fit on your pumpkin. If it doesn't, you're gonna have to change the size of your yarn, I think. This here is a red heart worsted. This here I bought from Hobby Lobby. It is also worsted, and it's ultraviolet or neon violet or something. Anyway, it should fit on your pumpkin right now. So our next round is just going to be 1 single crochet, but it's not going to be in a full stitch. It's going to be in the front loops only. So these are your front loops. Oh, let me go the other way. So they're going to be in your front loop only, because we need to start making the brim of the hat, and that's how we're going to do it, is front loops. So 1 single crochet, front loops only. You'll see it written as FLO. That means front loops only. Alright, so the brim of the hat. We're going to have to do some more increases. We're going to be using the full stitch this time. And I want you to do 3 single crochet increase. Now you're going to be able to do that about 10 times around, and then you're going to have 2 extra stitches. And I would just put 1 single crochet in there. You should end up with 52 stitches. So your next round is going to be 2 single crochet and an increase, and this will bring you up to 65 stitches. And then our last round is going to be a pattern stitch, but it's really super duper easy, so don't freak out about it. But that is, let me reach my hand. You see all these points? That's what we're going to do. So our last stitch is a pattern stitch. But worry about this round right now. 2 single crochet increase. So that's number 1, that's number 2, and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So this will bring you up to 65 stitches. Alright, so this is what you should have. This is what it should look like. We'll do the yellow thing after. So your very last row is going to be a pattern stitch. And I want you to do V-stitches all the way around. So this is black, and I know it's going to be so difficult. Turn my light up a bit, see if that helps a little bit. So first of all, just put your marker in. We'll do 2 single crochets. Okay. Your pattern, no, we'll just do the 1 single crochet. Just put a 1 single crochet here. So your pattern stitch is a V-stitch, which is 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet. That's a V-stitch. And it'll put a point, I know that's so hard to see, on the edge. So after your V-stitch, you need to skip 2 and go over here and put another V-stitch. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in the same space. Skip 2, same space, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So that's the effect you get, are all these points all along the rim of your hat. So continue this all the way around. I'll put the details on my pause screen. Skip 2, V-stitch, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, skip 2. So that's your repeat. So fasten off. So you will notice that this is a little bit of a wider space than the rest of it, but it's not a huge deal. And unfortunately, it's at the front of the hat because I'm going to use this jog to put my yellow around to hide. If you're sewing this to the pumpkin, excuse me, then you'll need a sewing tail. But I am not sewing mine to the pumpkin, so. But if you do want to sew it, you remember you've got all these back loops that we never used. You've got all of that in there to sew it down with if you want. So just weave in your end. You'll probably need to starch this. I never starched my other one and it rolls up a lot. So I would starch it as opposed to just blocking it. So let's find some yellow. So I've got some yellow here, and I'm going to use my jog, my color jog here. I'm going to use the yellow there to hide my jog. So just take some yellow. I probably have too much, but so I just want you to go in and make so I just went into the same stitch. Actually, I'm going to come over here. So it's up to you how big you make this and how small you make it. You know, the pilgrim thing. I don't know what it's called. But make sure that it's going to be straight. Mine's not very straight, but you get the idea. So I've got 3 down here, 2 here, 2 here. I'm going to put the last one down here, and I'm just going to pop out. They don't all have to. You can make yours different than that if you want. And then I'm just going to tie these 2 pieces of yellow into a knot. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm tying a double knot with my 2 yellow pieces. So I can just cut it off and be done with it. That's the inside, but I mean nobody's going to see the inside of my hat. So. And then if you wanted to starch it, there's this stuff here that's you can buy at Amazon, and you can just it just sprays on. Well, it's supposed to, but apparently mine's not working. So that's the hat for the top of the pumpkin. I love this. But over time it does roll up, so but it's more noticeable in this black than it is in the sparkly black. It really, really is more noticeable. All right, let's move on. We need to make a little door. So that's the little door we're making with a little window in it. And that's the window with the light coming through. That's what the yellow is. So I'm using this lighter color yellow for that. But you can use whatever color you want. I've seen some windows done with blue behind it. I don't like that, but some windows done with blue behind it. And then I'm just going to use whatever color brown I've got laying around. It was kind of the first thing I grabbed, so. Get your colors together and I will meet you right back here. Okie dokie, so we're going to start with the door. I'm still using the same hook. You're going to start with a slip knot. And you chain 9. And you're going to do 8 single crochets back because the ninth one is still on your hook. Holy cow. I need a drink of water. So that's my 8th stitch. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. For the next 4 rows, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 8 stitches. Okay, so that's my 4 rows. This is how I was crocheting, but I want you to turn it like this. So this is your slip knot. We're going to crochet along up here. There's no stitches, but just try to do it even. So I'm going to chain 1, and I want you to do 1 single crochet. So wherever you can stick your hook in. Then I want you to do a half double crochet. We're doing 4 stitches, so spread them out evenly. Another half double crochet. And then 1 single crochet. This is where I'm going to fasten off. You're going to need a sewing tail. And that looks funny. So I'm going to tie these 2 together to make it look better. So that puts a nice round curve on the top there. So as far as this guy, I would just say cut him off, but I don't want this knot to come undone. So I'm just going to quickly weave him. So that's my door with the curved top, and then the door window is done with the yellow. And I did that with a different hook, actually. I did that with my little, I think it's a 3mm, 3.5mm, that's my 3. Yeah, I did that with my 3.5mm, which is an E hook. So I want you to make a magic ring of 6 single crochets, and that is the gist of my window. That's about it. But I had to use a small hook because it just wasn't working out for me with the bigger one. So even though this is worsted, or actually it's not worsted, it's a thick 4-weight, but the E hook worked. So I'm just going to go into this stitch here. I'm going to slip stitch, maybe. I'm going to fasten off. Now I need a little bit of a tail, but I'm going to use this straggler and this little tail. I am going to tie them in the back together, and I'm going to glue this on. So I'm not really going to sew this on. I'm going to glue it. That's the plan. So you just need to stick these down through the door, because the door's getting sewn on anyway. So determine where you want your little window. That's why I wanted the curve, because I was putting a round window in, and that's why I did that. So stick your stuff through, preferably close together at the back. And then you can take any kind of glue you want. You can use fabric glue, or you can use this washable clear school glue. You get this from Amazon. You can buy a whole kit for like dirt cheap. So put that on the back of your little window. And I would gob it right up too on the door, because you want to push this down fairly flat so that your ends don't curl up, your sides don't curl up. So that's probably going to take a minute. Take your 2 yellow pieces you just shoved through, and you're just going to tie in a double knot, a really tight double knot. Tie those down. So because you're sewing the door on, I would just snip those off. I wouldn't worry about really doing anything with it. Sew your door on. My window's going to have to dry, but let's move on to the bigger window over here on the side. We're going to go back to using our 3.5 millimeter. So you're going to start with yellow this time. You're going to make a slip knot. And you're going to chain 8. You're going to do 7 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. For the next 3 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you should have 4 rows all together, and on your last stitch you're going to change to brown. So go in and pull up a loop, pull that through, finishing the stitch. You're going to chain 1, and now you're going to put 1 single crochet around the whole entire project. You can weave in your other colors. So wherever you don't have any stitches, you just stick your hook in If you can get it in, you can make a stitch. If you can't, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. I would put 2 in each corner, personally, just so that it doesn't completely want to keep curling up on you. So you're basically making a corner by putting 2 in the corner. You got stitches to follow along here, so loosey-goosey, try not to pull tight, keep everything loose. I'm on my corner where my slip knot is. I'm going to put 2 single crochets in there. I'm still kind of trying to weave everything in, just for safety purposes. And then whatever you did across here, try to repeat it on the other side. Don't try to stick it through any extra holes. So if you did 3 across, do 3 across. If you did 4 across, do 4 across. This is my 2, so I didn't manage to do 3. We're not counting this one here. So that's my 2, that's my 1, 2, and 3 across. So I'm back at the top. I'm going to put my 2 in the corner. And then I'm going to follow my top stitches. Loosey-goosey. I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to go into here and I'm going to fasten off. So, keep this yellow here. Fasten off your brown. You just need a weaving tail. We're keeping the yellow for a sewing tail. So I weaved in this yellow, so I'm going to cut it off. This is the brown I weaved in, so I'm going to cut that off. That I can sew in. So I weave this in. I don't need to do anything with that other than cut it off here for a sewing tail. So I'm going to hide my brown before I continue. Hide it. I always say hide it. I'm going to hide it. It's a big secret. I guess you are kind of hiding your ends, but weave it. So I don't think you really need to go too far. That's good for me. So that's the start of your window. You need to take your brown. We're still using the little hook. Make sure you got a decent end on here. You're going to chain 6. That's 6 to fasten off with a decent end on the other end. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to find the middle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, it doesn't seem like there'd be a middle for 9. But find one that looks close to the middle. And then stick it down. The stitch, just like that. And then you can just tie these at the back like a little package. No one's gonna know. Cut it off. Take your brown, make another slip knot. Make sure it has a decent tail. You're going to chain 9. That's my 9th one. So I'm going to fasten off with a decently long tail. I'm going to do the same thing, but it's going to be crossways. So again, find your center or close to it. Pull that through there. So hence the yellow, when I was saying you can use to do any color you want. I did yellow just to make it look like, you know, somebody was home. But you can do red, you can do orange, you know, orange glow of a candle or whatever. So now you can tie these two at the back so those don't come undone. Tight second knot. Cut them off. And you can put this anywhere you want. The reason I chose yellow, because I'm going to sew it in the yellow. So, figure out where you want it. And then I just use the yellow to sew it. This window does sit up a bit, so you will see some of this crap. You can glue it down if you want. I like the rustic look. I like the fact that it sticks out like that. It's almost 3D. And that is it. I'm going to keep my pin there because I'm still drying. Other than that, guys and gals, that is your witch house. Your little Gnome witch house. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.